So I think we are live now. Is that about right, Jack?
Yeah, we're back up and running. There was a technical issue, but we have managed to resolve that. Now we'll put our hands in the pockets.
Well, let's hope so. So, everyone who's listening, we want to try and raise 500 quid. And we did have 45 minutes to do it, and now we've got about 20. So, if you could just cut to the chase and start donating, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
We started at the end of the last session, we were on 3611, so £3,611. Our target in this session is 4,111. And we're up to 3681. So, the purpose of this session is to give all of our listeners a bit of an insight into what EventWell is all about, what EventWell Pledge is about, and also what the You Matter campaign is all about as well. Hopefully you've seen a bit of all of those on LinkedIn over the last year or so. But first of all, what an amazing creative day this has been so far, starting at midnight.
Yeah, incredible.
So Helen, let's cut to the chase on EventWell.
Okay.
How, what's it about? Why is it important?
How, why, who, when, where, what, why, how, all of that kind of stuff. So EventWell was kind of born out of, and the idea of EventWell was born out of my personal story, really, in the industry. So I'm 20 plus years in events, 24 years this year, showing my age, which you can probably see by the grey, to be honest. But my mental health story is 30 plus years. So I've had bipolar disorder since I was 16. So all of my adult life. And I do have a little joke, right? I tend to say that, you know, the events industry didn't make me mentally ill, but it helps at times that I am, if that makes sense. So just a little bit of a pun in there. Anyway, so well, as I said, I have bipolar. I've had it from a very, very young age. But I didn't know I had bipolar until 2009. So I literally spent 20 years of misdiagnosis and struggling with bouts of depression. So anybody who knows anything about bipolar disorder, it's a mood disorder. So you will swing from between what I call my middle. So that's when I'm feeling stable and well and okay. That's my middle. And I can swing with bouts of mania. I mainly experience mania, so I take antipsychotics to help deal with that, because if I don't deal with the mania, then I'll crash into a really, really, really pivoting low. And I spent 20 years basically of that happening, but not recognizing the manic episodes, not recognizing that manic behavior, and basically a lot of the time wondering what was wrong with me more than anything else. And then in 2009 I suffered a massive burnout, nervous breakdown, really, is what happened to me in 2009. And around about that same time, I listened to somebody talking about their experience of managing bipolar. It was around about that time as well that Stacey Slater's story on EastEnders was on. They were first talking about her bipolar, and obviously her mum's bipolar. So there was a lot of focus on TV and stories and stuff that were looking at bipolar. And it was just a simple, I looked at those behaviors, that other people talking about their experiences and kind of going, that's me. So I went back to my GP and I said, I think I might have bipolar, you know. And then I was referred to psychiatry and you know, of course, behavioural chat with a psychiatrist. It was confirmed that it was indeed bipolar that I had. So really, I just wanted to, from my experience, knowing and learning more about mental health, how important it is to look after yourself, particularly when you're managing a mental health condition. Things like sleep and exercise and fit, and how important sleep is for your mental health. Fundamentally, we were chatting about it on a session earlier, weren't we, Jack? I can't go on enough about how important sleep is, and particularly for anybody who suffers from any mania type mental health conditions. So schizophrenia, anybody who experiences psychosis or bipolar, sleep is really, really, really important. So just me knowing, having learned about that from 2009, I was able to make lifestyle changes and life skill changes that really helped and benefited my mental health. You know, I gave up drinking 7 years ago. I stopped drinking caffeine 7 years ago. Smoking, I gave them all up at the same time. Now that's a task in itself, I have to say. The only thing I can't give up is chocolate. I'm not going to. I don't feel that I should. But it was from those just difficult periods in the industry as well. And obviously having gone and experienced that burnout and near nervous breakdown, I mean, that was catastrophic to go through that. And the reason that I went through that is because I've always been someone who pushes herself. I love what I do. I love this industry. I think it's phenomenal. It's amazing. I've been a creative person from the time that I learned to walk and I think I sang and drew pictures before I could speak and just normally do things, you know, and play music. I've always been a creative person. So to have fallen into the industry in 97, like I did, like many people in our industry do, we fall into it by accident because we're doing something else and an events opportunity comes along. To have fallen into an industry that's as creative and motivating and inspiring and just awesome, for me was an amazing thing. But for me, I've had these really, really dark periods where, you know, I've been suicidal at times, my nervous breakdown, just not being able to talk about it and not being able to talk openly about it, because the attitude in the industry was always one that, you know, well, this is the way the industry is. So if you can't hack it, go away, you know, go and work somewhere else, go and do something else if you can't hack it. That work hard, play hard mentality kind of stuff that we do really need to address and look at, you know, glorifying long hours and not having any sleep and stuff, which is really detrimental, creates a toxic culture within our industry that needs to be changed. And EventWell was born out of that, really, just wanting to make a difference. And my little one's here. So homeschooling. So just really wanting to make a difference to people's lives. And it wasn't just me at the start. I came up with the idea of an Event Wellbeing Week, which is how we started in 2017 with the first Event Wellbeing Week. So it's our 5th birthday this year, our 5th campaign.
Happy birthday.
I know. We're 5. We're officially 5. We're officially in year 1. So if you look at it, school years, we're in year 1. We've graduated. So we started with that first. No, you're not, are you, darling? You're in reception. So my 4-year-old to the left-hand side here. So we kind of started with that campaign, and it was a group of us that we'd kind of magneted to each other. And this is a strange thing about our industry, and the wonderful thing about our industry at the same time is that people with a common cause and a common aim and common struggles, we all tend to find each other. So it's almost like my little mental health group and Pretty had all found each other, and we'd all talked about for many, many years, wouldn't it be great to do something for the industry where we just changed attitudes and we changed opinions and people felt safe to be able to talk about their mental health openly. And that would be amazing. And then a statement came out at the end of 2016 from CareerCast over in the States, and that said that event coordination was the 5th most stressful career. And that got people's attention because it wasn't anything that we didn't already know, but all of a sudden someone was saying that our industry is stressful, working in our industry is stressful. And there were things like airline pilot and military personnel and police officers and all was above that. Now you can understand somebody's working in life or death situations, how that can be very stressful. But event coordinator was up there with those. So it got people's attention. It was almost like for me and our little group, it was like our starter gun had gone off. And it was like, now let's do it. And that's when we started that Event Wellbeing Week. And it's gone from there. So we started this movement in the industry.
Yeah.
We started this movement in the industry. I'm just gonna put my little one on my knee here. There you can see it. We started this movement in the industry where people started talking openly about mental health. You know, and having conversations and having sessions at trade shows and conferences and industry events. And that's been absolutely amazing to see. But we've still got so much work to do because there's still a lot of issues in the industry around mental health and wellbeing that have not been solved. And that's why EventWell was born as a charity and a social enterprise. So out of that, EventWell was only supposed to be a campaign that we were going to do once a year. And that was it. It was just going to be a week's campaign. And then that first week, we held research in that week, and we asked people, you know, what's going on with you? What does mental health and wellbeing look like? And that's when we identified that actually it's roughly about 1 in 3 event professionals will struggle with their mental health every year, whether that's just stress or whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's more serious mental health conditions such as, bipolar, schizophrenia, all of those kind of conditions as well, OCD. And there's a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people in our industry have got OCD. It's very serious, and not OCD how people would think about OCD. It's actually a very, very serious condition, debilitating condition as well. So we identified that, and from that we kind of decided from there, right, okay, the industry actually needs something. It needs a charity, it needs an organisation, it needs something that is dedicated to the cause. And that's why EventWell was set up as a charity and social enterprise, really. And our aim is to educate, campaign and support for better mental health and well-being in the events industry. And we won't stop until we've achieved that.
Yeah,
and we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do. And we've only got 10 minutes left. So, so let's start to EventWell Pledge, because actually in the pandemic, we've had a situation where everybody's mental health has been challenged. I don't think there's been anybody that hasn't had some form of either low point or challenge stretch them mentally, and therefore EventWell has really come to the fore there. One of the things at the beginning of the pandemic that we talked about was the idea of what can people do, because people feel quite helpless. And EventWell Pledge was created to enable individuals to make a difference. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So EventWell Pledge is our new support package. So as I said, that's what EventWell does. So we educate, we campaign, we support for better mental health and well-being. So EventWell Pledge falls under our charitable aims. And it's there to support people in our industry, professionals in our industry. Now, that doesn't matter if you are a rigger to a makeup artist, to a senior sales manager in a London venue, to someone who sets up the tea and coffee station. It doesn't matter. Oh, we've got a bit of feedback there. So doubling up. Right, okay. So it doesn't matter at all. It's there to support people in our industry that have been affected by not just by the C-19 pandemic and COVID-19 pandemic, but also moving forward. So it's our main support package, and we're here to give out financial aid, small relief grants, just to really, the aim is to remove the burden, the triggers, the trauma, to help people with that. And the triggers, trauma and burdens can be associated with a decline in mental health. So that not being able to put food on the table for your family, okay, when you're used to working and being able to do that, not being able to, people we've helped since we started in August, for example, there's a DJ in the industry, we've helped him clear mortgage arrears and council tax arrears off his home, and give him food every week so he's able to feed his wife and his children. That I think the one that moved me the most, because it was very similar to my own story of when I was 17 and being in a very, very similar situation. It was quite triggering for me as well. I found it quite hard. I think I shared this with Lou. We had a young event professional in December last year. It was about 2 weeks before Christmas. He'd fallen out with his family. He was homeless. He was on the streets. He'd slept in an old tent on a common. And we basically, he reached out to us. And what we basically did was we got him into a hotel for that night. So we got him off the streets, and then we gave him a deposit to be able to put down on a rented accommodation. So basically within 24 hours, he was in his own place. He was in his own rented accommodation and place that he could call his own, and moving his stuff in. That's how what Pledge does.
Even life-changing was the moment when I thought I was glad that it all happened, that we'd done it with the pledge, because that made a difference. To take the off the streets in that run to Christmas made all the difference. Now, I think one of the messages I'd like to get across today is that it's not just about Christmas, and there are plenty. Obviously, the struggle is long term. There are people that, especially the forgotten, who haven't had any funding. The pain and eking out savings is worse and worse and worse. And so for anybody who is listening, who is able to pledge either donation to the Just Giving page or to pledge, just go to EventWell Pledge on Google, then please do pledge, because the struggle is real. We're not just raising money for the fun of it. This is about people in the art industry that need our support, and you can make a real difference. Which leads nicely on to Natasha. So
yeah, I just wanted to add on that, Lou, if I could, just to let people know that, you know, these aren't just one-off applications that people are coming to us for either. We're helping people on a weekly basis now. So we have 6 families that are coming to us on a weekly basis for grocery shops, because the universal credit that they're being offered just doesn't cover it, and I don't know if anybody knew this, but anybody who owns their own home as well, and this is the important thing that Pledge is doing at the moment, is protecting people who have got mortgages on their homes and own their own homes, because you can't claim universal credit for mortgages. They will only give you, so there's people at real risk of losing the roofs over their heads, and for families, we just, as an industry, you know, we just can't let that happen. So that's the really, really crucial thing that EventWell Pledge is supporting with as well. We're keeping families in their homes, and we're keeping them fed, and they're coming to us each week. And the messages that come from them, you know, we're an industry that validates what we're going through and invalidate how we're feeling. There's so many people that kind of go, there's people worse off than me. Yes, do you know what? Yes, there are people that are worse off than you, but never ever invalidate your own experience or what you're going through, what your feelings are, because, you know, it can impact really negatively on you. The help is here to help people. And as well as us raising money today, I'd really like us to get that message out that we need you to come and apply as well.
Yeah.
We've got money to support people, and that's what today's all about with the fundraising. We've got Make It Blue who are fundraising for us today as well. Other people doing other things for us across the industry today for Event Wellbeing Day. But the important thing is people knowing that there's somewhere they can come and get some help and support. And it's no questions asked, simple application process, and you'll have support within 24 hours. I just wanted to get that across.
Natasha, talk to us about the You Matter campaign, because that's exactly what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this came about because we were having a chat, Helen, weren't we, about how we can get people to come forward and redeem these pledges. Because, yeah, you're right. A lot of people think, well, you know, I might be struggling, but there's always someone worse off than me. And I think the key thing is to not get to the point where you can't survive. You don't want to get to that point before you reach out and ask for help. It's about asking for help so we stop you from getting to that point. So the You Matter campaign is literally what it says, isn't it? It's about telling and reminding people that you matter, they matter, and that everybody's experiences and circumstances are relevant, as you say, Helen. So the You Matter campaign is an opportunity for any individual to create a video and talk a little bit about themselves and their own personal journey and struggle, and perhaps how they've overcome it over the last 12 months, or perhaps they're still overcoming it. You know, we're still going through this journey now. And the more we talk and the more we share, the more we realize that we're not alone. And it's about encouraging people to see asking for help as a strength rather than a weakness. And I think that work hard, play hard you were talking about earlier, Helen, it's expected of us to go through pressure and to just deal with it. But if we had all, I spoke to somebody the other day, made a really good point. Just because everyone else is experiencing it, we seem to think that we just got to crack on. But if we had been made redundant, lost our job, our houses that were at risk, it would be the worst parts of our lives. But because everyone else is going through it, you don't want to talk about it, or you don't think it's important. So with the videos, we've had some fantastic people get on board, and actually some people who a lot of our events industry look up to and think, you know, wow, how do they do it? They're always so positive. They've got all their together, and you know, they're just winning. But you only see a tiny piece of real life on social media. Is any of it really real? And so it was just about really opening up and people being vulnerable to see that we're all human. And you might see somebody and think, how do they do it? They are superwoman. How do they do that? Well, quite often they're not. They're not doing it. You know, we're winging it every day. I'm a mum, I've got 2 kids, and people say to me, oh, I don't know how you do it. And you go, well, I'm not really doing it. You know, I'm just just take every day as it comes. But it's not until we start talking about it and communicating with each other that you think, okay, this is the norm. Actually, not being okay is the normal. So I just love for anybody that wants to share their story this year and to encourage people to come forward and ask for help, take advantage of the pledges you've received for the EventWell Pledge. Do get in contact with me. It's a 2-minute video. It's hard. Don't underestimate doing the video, because when you think about doing these videos, you take a step back and you sort of self-reflect. And when you say it out loud, what you've been through for the last 12 months, you think, actually, I've had a really tough 12 months, and it's actually quite emotional. And it may take you 10, 15 attempts to do, but you're making such a big difference and really encouraging others to speak up. So it's really important.
Yeah. So I think we're out of time. Is that right, Jack? You're probably
Don't worry, Lou, because I am gonna bring Lisa on with us, because Lisa's got something to say as well. She's at sort of the transition in terms of from your session to the next. So I'm going to invite Lisa on first, but then she's got a number of her students who've been helping with the day as well. So I thought it'd be nice for them to get to meet you as well during that transition. So I'll invite Lisa on first. You can get to know Lisa.
Fabulous.
Welcome, Lisa.
So I think hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
I think the kind of final messages that we'd want to sum up with to anybody listening is firstly, if you have the capacity to help, then EventWell Pledge and EventWell can certainly provide you the ability to offer your support. And if you need help, again, EventWell and EventWell Pledge are there to support you. If you know somebody who's struggling, feel free to nominate them for some support as well. Or just point them in the right direction. And if anyone needs any justification for why that's okay, I always like to think for the extra hours that we put in on site, just consider it a bit of overtime payment. Because our industry has certainly taken enough out of every individual for the industry to be able to put something back in as well. So keep all of that in mind. Please donate. I don't think we've made our 500. Natasha and I are on later. I'm baking a cake and singing at some point. Natasha, you're on with someone, aren't you?
Yeah, we're back on at 3:30 with the big fat recruitment debate. So that'll be interesting.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi, Dan.
Sorry, you know when I was in a deep sleep for about 45 minutes, and I'd set my alarm for 10 to for now, and obviously it went off, and I literally I fell out of bed. I'm not even joking. Right, I'm on the floor and I don't know where I am.
You're orientated, Dan.
Excuse me.
Oh dear.
So I'm sorry about that.
Yes, we have to talk about the importance of sleep. Another session.
I was about to say that earlier.
I have to slot that one in. Slot that one in. Oh dear.
Lisa, I think you've got some students waiting, yeah?
Yep. So, I mean, we just say thank you to everybody that's been involved and welcoming my students on board with regards to the University of East London and the Institute of Hospitality and Tourism. There's 19 of them in total that are helping out over the 24 hours. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to be able to, for them to give them a bit of airtime, shall we say, and think about what their aspirations are. They're graduating in a scary 3 months' time. So thinking about what their aspirations are, what they want to achieve within the industry, what they see their next steps are, and everything else, and look at the future of what the event industry is going to mean for them.
And remember,
maybe Lisa, before our 3 guests leave us, before Natasha, Helen and Lou leave us, they can give them one piece of advice. We'll put them on the spot.
Yeah, that would be good.
Could you give them one piece of advice?
Well, who wants to go first?
Okay,
Go on, Lou, you go.
I'm going to say, yeah, don't. So this place is a nut house, as in it's crazy. Don't ever think that this is about as crazy as it's going to get, because at some point in your life you'll sit there and go, I did not expect this to happen either. So if you're looking for a calm life, don't sit in this space. Enjoy it. Just look at every bonkers moment and just soak it up for everything that it is, and enjoy.
Who's going to follow that one then?
I'll follow it. So I would just say that just make sure you surround yourselves with really positive, encouraging individuals to help you grow your career within the events. There are some incredible leaders in this industry, and it is one industry that is renowned for coming together and looking after each other. And I think there is so much to learn. And you have so much to give, and we need some fresh blood in this industry. We need some creative, new ideas, and you guys are the ones to bring it. So bring it on.
Wicked.
And for me, you know what I'm going to. One, I back up what Lou said. This industry is crazy. Remember what I said at the beginning? It didn't make me mentally ill, but it helps at times that I am. So it's crazy, but it's inspirational, it's motivating. Do you know what? You'll love it. I will never leave this industry. I tried the last 2 years, I got a part-time job just doing marketing, and I've come back. I kind of tried, and it was like, no, it's pulled me back. It's an amazing industry, but don't forget, as well as doing well and progressing in your career isn't just about hard work, guys. It's also about your self-care. So, sleep. Get your sleep. Please get your sleep. It's the most important thing for your mental health. I keep banging on about it, but it really is so important. Exercise, keep yourself moving. We're not designed to be sedentary, sat in chairs for 8-9 hours a day. Every 25 minutes, 45 minutes, give yourself a break, go for a walk, have outside walking meetings, and as well, your diet and nutrition, particularly on event day. Read up about the cortisol effect and how it stops you eating on event day when it's a busy, stressful day, and have a think about what you need to do to make sure that you're fueling your body. Just have a look at that, nurturing your mind and body from a mental health and well-being perspective. And also don't forget that tomorrow is University Mental Health Day. Yeah. So we're doing something tomorrow as well for your mental health. I'm doing a lecture with Falmouth University tomorrow, so so remember that as well. Next time, let's talk, Lisa. Let's talk.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, ladies. Thank you ever so much for your time, your advice, your guidance, your joining in the conversation. As I say, technical issues happen. That's what we had. We plowed through it. That's what event professionals do. I think there's some great content that you shared, and I'm sure the students will have loved those final bits of advice as well.
So I think in terms of numbers, Natasha, between us, we've got to raise 350 quid later. I think we got to about 150 in this session. So 350 to go.
Pressure.
Pressure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you soon.
See you later.
I think you had a few